Good morning. Today we will talk about fundamentals of sustainability and how to prepare an assignment, study out an assignment together. This is Meltem Yilmaz. I have an undergraduate degree in biology education and a master degree in forestry and engineering, and having long-lasting experience in the field of regional development, social, environmental, and on economic scale in the Ministry of Development and Industry in Turkey. So we will study out today the fundamentals of sustainability that we have already studied together, and we will build a strategy how to work out an assignment and prepare a paper, a research about it. So, and discuss the details. Now I'm I'm going to share my screen. So, in this unit and session, we have already talked about the sustainability ethics, criteria, standards, international standards, and of course, the main priorities, and have also talked about examples, sustainable strategy as examples as well. So we, in this unit, what was our target? What was our target to achieve? That we live in an era where humans pose the greatest threat to natural ecosystems and wildlife. The very systems we depend on economically, socially, physiologically, and spiritually. This unit covers fundamental understanding of sustainability and related concepts and provides a solid foundation for the rest of your studies. Through the course of the unit, students would have to achieve and examine the relationship between sustainability, resilience, business growth, and social responsibility. So students expect to achieve, to explore why there is an urgency to tackle environmental challenges, and that environmental challenges and social challenges are inextricably interlinked. The importance of international collaboration and key international development initiatives to date, and explore different ethical perspectives and how they can be used to guide behavior, daily behavior, understanding of individuals and organizations. So we try to learn. We had some learning outcomes. One of them was understand the key concept of sustainability and the relation to economic growth and development. In this, we had some sub-criteria like description of the most used definition of sustainability and cooperation of social responsibility, CSR. Then we one of the other subtitle priority was explaining how sustainability differs from CRC and why unsustainable CRC may pose a reputational and financial risk of organizations. Finally, to analyze the reasons behind tragedies of the common and why sustainability must be approached at a systematic level. So, in the second learning outcome, it was understand the context of sustainability, and the reasons for urgent actions, with a spatial focus on climate change and biodiversity. So, in this part, we had four sub targets. It was learning targets. It was, first of all, define the 9 planetary boundaries and meaning of system resilience, explain the meaning of ecosystem services and their relationship with organization, products, services, and human needs. Analyze the current focus on climate change and biodiversity loss and the reasons why these areas dominate the agendas of most governments on national scale. Critically, able to assess the impact of global trends on the triple bottom line and the need for transition towards sustainability. And the third target was learning target. Understand the role of private enterprises and innovation in the transition to sustainability. The sub priorities were there were 5 sub priorities. Let's remember the description of how sustainability issues present risks and opportunities for businesses in both local and global contexts. And then the explanation why actions of governments are not sufficient to tackle environmental and social challenges. The third sub-priority was to explain the meaning of externalities and how to tackle undesirable externalities through innovation in process and products and via reporting. And analyze the industries that most contribute to climate change and environmental degradation to evaluate how they can tackle the problem at both local and global level. Finally, in this part, to evaluate why private enterprises and innovation are critical for the delivery of the transition to sustainability. In the fourth priority, learning outcome, it was to understand the need for global initiatives and treaties on sustainability and climate change. In this part, there were 3 sub priorities, learning outcomes, the discussion of the role of the key international institutions and agreements that contribute to sustainable development, analyze the impact of international initiatives and treaties on policies of individual states and regions. Finally, in this part, to evaluate the evolution of the importance of global initiatives and treaties for sustainable development. The final learning outcome, the fifth one, is to identify the principles and understand the perspective of business ethics and its use in discussion regarding climate change and sustainability. So, in this part, we identify the sources of ethical guidance that can be used in daily professional practices to promote sustainability. To describe the meaning of an ethical culture of an organization and the implication of unethical behavior. And finally, critically evaluate the importance of embedding businesses' ethics to achieve sustainability. So in this part, this was the summary that we already studied together in the unit of sustainable management and the development of the sustainable strategies. So to achieve a standard pass paper for this unit, we need to understand how the learners have provide evidence to demonstrate that they have fulfilled all the learning outcomes and meet the standards specified by all assessment criteria. So we want from you to prepare a coursework, of course, a paper. So it can be might be approximately 4,500 words. So all these learning outcomes from 1 to 5, which we have summarized just now in case, needs to be in this paper, build a strategical paper as well. So let's talk about what kind of scenario we would like to ask for and what we expect from this paper study as well. So we want from all the students to develop a sustainability campaign. So you are a sustainability consultant hired by the World Trade Organization, and the service that is asked from you is to develop a sustainability report for one of their 17 UN Sustainability Development Goals for 2030. So you need to show on the paper what the World Trade Organization is trying to achieve and in relation to the Sustainable Development Goals. So your task is to write a comprehensive sustainable report for the management team that will outline the strategies and initiatives that should be implemented to achieve one of the following Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. So there are not all of them, of course, but one of the followings you should focus more on, and all these initiatives should be achieved by the World Trade Organization finally in 2030. So it's clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land. To understand more about the World Trade Organization and its values and the 17 Sustainable Development Goals for 2030, please read the following links and reports as well. So they will let you understand and specify your focus on the paper, so you can decide and study out how you will build a strategy on this service and service contract. So the task of this assignment is, first of all, to specify all 5 learning outcomes. So these are our assessment criteria. So we will analyze if you have understand and specified our 5 learning outcomes for sustainable development and management. And then we will see on the paper, we want to see on the paper if the learning outcomes are related with the sustainable development goals, and your report emphasizes the following sustainable development goals for the senior team, where you will cover the following issues. So what do we expect on the scenario and from you and this paper is, so to describe a description, the most used definition of sustainability and corporate social responsibility, CSR. Explain how sustainability differs from CSR, and why unsustainability CSR may pose a reputation and financial risk for organizations. So we expect from you to use examples from the sector and industry. Analyze the reasons behind strategies of the common and why sustainability must be approached at a systemic level for the World Trade Organization. Define the 9 planetary boundaries and meaning of systems resilience. Use examples from relevant industries that can inform the World Trade Organization initiatives. So here in this part, we want to from you to define resilience, this and how it is related to sustainability, and give some examples relevant from the industries that are beyond the World Trade Organization. Explain the meaning of ecosystem, services, and their relationship with organizations, products, services, and human needs. Analyze the current focus on climate change and biodiversity loss and the reasons why these areas dominate agendas of most governments. So, in this part, we want from you to analyze what is the current situation of climate change and biodiversity loss. So, what is happening around us in the world? Critically assess the impact of global trends on the triple bottom line and the need for transition towards sustainability. You should be informative and contextual it for the World Trade Organization initiative. So it needs to be related beyond the World Trade Organization initiative. Describe how sustainability issues present risks and opportunities for businesses in both a local and global context. You can use examples of net zero, reducing plastic pollution, air pollution, and climate change. Explain why actions of governments are not sufficient to tackle environmental and social challenges. Contextualize it for the given World Trade Organization scenarios. Explain the meaning of externalities and how to tackle undesirable externalities through the innovation process, products, and reporting. We expect from you an analysis to analyze the industries that most contribute to climate change and environmental degradation to evaluate how they can tackle the problem at both local and global level. Evaluate why private enterprises and innovation are critical for the delivery of the transition of subsidiaries and sustainability. Discuss the role of the key international institutions like the World Trade Organization, the United Nations, and the World Health Organization, or these critical organizations, international institutions on global scale, and how they contribute to sustainable development and that can inform the World Trade Organization initiatives. We expect to analyze the impact of international initiatives and treaties on policies of individual states and regions. So here you can give examples of some vulnerable and endangered regions which are facing the risk of climate change and biodiversity loss. We expect from you to evaluate the importance of global initiatives, treaties, for sustainable development. This should give readers a sense of urgency for achieving World Trade Organization initiatives. So, we expect to identify sources of ethical guidance that can be used in daily professional practice to promote sustainability. Describe the meaning of an ethical culture of an organization and implications of unethical behavior. Critically evaluate the importance of embedded businesses ethics to achieve sustainability. Contextualize it for the scenario using relevant examples. So we expect from this paper it is a scenario, build a scenario for the World Trade Organization. However, in this paper, we are also expecting what you have understand from the 5 target learning outcomes of sustainability, fundamentals of the sustainability, and the relationship between the global institutions, private entities, and the impact of climate change and biodiversity loss and pollution. So this is, of course, a very complex and achievable paper. So it is important to show the learning outcomes first in summary. And with the learning outcomes, it is also to integrate the sustainable development goals, which have been chosen as the clean water and sanitation, affordability and clean energy, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, and life on land. And then the integration of the sustainable development goal will also be included in the scenario for the World Trade Organization in the relation of the responsibilities and the jobs of the World Trade Organization. Please share some examples of business models under the World Trade Organization which have achievable sustainable strategies and which have non-achievable sustainable strategies as well. So the contribution of the private sector and the business sector is another kind of knowledge that we expect in this paper. So please give some examples for some private sectors and business model which are working also on ethics of sustainability. Is this unachievable, or have they dismissed their achievement? Another thing is, of course, how are the private sector and the business work on local and global level scale by developing their sustainable strategies and goals. So please give some examples and make analysis about local, governmental, and global scale so that you can show the differences and the contributions of each part of the planet for the sustainability management criteria. And of course, during this investment of sustainable strategies on private sector, please show us how externalities mean, what is the meaning of externalities, how they tackle, and what is the impact of them. Please show us how stakeholders are working together under the World Trade Organization scenarios. So please focus on the World Trade Organization institutional frame and build a scenario on their targets, priorities, and of course, members. The submission and the delivery. So the submission should be in the form of an essay, written in a Word format. The recommended word limit is about 4,500 words, excluding diagrams, references, and appendices. So, of course, we expect from you to write, add the references that you use in the scenario. You are expected to use relevant academic and reliable sources and clearly references these in your work. So situations should be added to the text and placed at the end in a reference list using the Harvard referencing style. So that is what we expect in this assignment. At the end, this is how we have shown the learning outcomes integrating into a scenario for the World Trade Organization initiative. So it is to understand the learning outcomes, to show how we understand the learning outcomes, to show a global organization, how it has built its sustainable strategy, and to integrate the learning outcomes with the sustainable development goals, with the positive and negative inputs and inputs as well. Finally, it is of course important to work it out by the references. So this is also ethics of our assignment. So we expect from the learners to use the references and to read the references and then to specify them on their paper. Please be open that you use the references and add them there. So this is also an ethics for assignment submission. If you have any question, you can ask it, you can write to us, and we would like to support you. So this is our end of the fundamentals of sustainability unit, and we are happy and we would like to read your assignment at the final stage. If you have any questions, please share them with us. We would like to be there to answer them. Thank you for this session, and today we have finalized our assignment session and would like to close the session as well.